Hey guys, Nina here, welcoming you to another reading from the Ladies of Horror Picture Prompt Monthly Challenge, hosted by Elaine Pascale on her channel, The Godmother of Horror. If you'd like to read along or read previously published pieces, please visit spreadingthewritersword.com or ladiesofhorror.com. In the meanwhile, enjoy the reading.
Chromachondria by Elaine Pascale. Version 12.12 of the painting Paramore extension fulfilled all it promised. As an art lover, Reuben had no interest in the real girl experiences that other men paid for. He felt that the overly designed breasts and enhanced waist-to-hip ratios lacked finesse and grace. With version 12.12 of the painting Paramore extension, he was able to engage in virtual dalliances with famous subjects of the canvases he so admired and no longer had to travel to see. But the extension did more than allow him to see. The images were in 3D, and when he reached out with the special gloves, his hand encountered soft, warm skin that felt just as real as his own. He swore he could smell the painted projections. The first painting he tried with a VR headset and gloves was Titian's Venus of Urbino. Venus looked at him coyly, her sumptuous naked body divine. He grew tired of her faster than he anticipated, so he moved on to Diego Velasquez's The Rugby Venus. He stroked the pale buttocks while filling in the gaps of her blurred countenance with a variety of women who had rejected him. Realizing that consent was non-existent in this extension, he gave her a playful slap, followed by an extensive spanking until he was spent. He devoted months to squeezing and pinching and forcing his way on countless famous nudes, growing more and more bored of the endlessly available curves and brush-stroke coquettishness. He was frustrated that their sly smiles kept their mouths shut when he wanted them to taste him. He was nearly to the point of giving up the art product entirely when he was offered an upgrade labeled Danger. His heart beat faster as he waited for the upgrade to download. He clicked on what was promised to be a thrilling experience and was taken to the execution of Lady Jane Grey by Paul Delaroche. Lady Jane was blindfolded and trying to find the block where she would place her neck so that her head could be severed from her body. The executioner regarded her with as much sympathy as a carrion crow gazing at the carcass of a rabbit. Initially, Reuben wished to save the girl from what awaited her, but he realized how stimulated he was by the danger she was in. He was more aroused than he had been in a long time. He was next suggested to enter something terrifying and was brought to John Singleton Copley's Watson and the Shark. Reuben was provided the perspective of leaning over the side of a dinghy, trying to reach young Watson before he fell prey to the ravenous shark. Yet Reuben did not lean too far, wanting to see the culmination of the action, which he knew was the loss of the lad's leg. Imagining that severing bite sent spasms of ecstasy through his body. The next suggestion was labeled risky, and Reuben landed on the turbulent sea of Winslow Homer's The Fog Warning. He was assaulted by the smell of the large dead halibut and pelted by the cold ocean spray as the dory rocked precariously. The fog was closing in and the mother ship was drifting out of sight. No, thank you, Reuben said, and clicked on the icon to return him to the main page. The next suggested upgrade was called No Turning Back. It came with a warning that it was only for the most intense aficionados. What's this? Reuben was confused after being confronted with a painting he could not place. The subject was a large face, and a beautiful one at that. Oceanic blue splotches colored her right, and sunrise yellow her left. There were broad strokes of crimson at her lips. While splendidly painted, there was no action in the image, no danger, which had become his kink. Strangely, he found himself engorged despite the lack of peril. He reached for her lips with his special gloves, noting that he could easily fit inside her giant mouth. That idea became more and more enticing. He imagined himself lying on her soft, wet tongue, his body being stroked by her lips. "Can you open your mouth?" he whispered, thrilling when she followed his command. Her mouth smelled like cinnamon, and he willingly climbed in. Her lips slammed shut, trapping him in darkness. "Taste me," he commanded. This experience was far more realistic than the previous ones. Her tongue moved beneath him, the undulations making him delirious. Her tongue lifted to the roof of her mouth, pushing him toward her throat. "This is not," he started to say, but her saliva quickly engulfed him. Then she swallowed,